If you're a Japanese learner looking for games to replay in the original Japanese, consider Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI was translated by Ted Woolsey, who is also known for Chrono Trigger. His work has become the subject of scrutiny, with its fair share of both supporters and detractors. I personally find his work to be surprisingly accurate, if sometimes lacking in taste. However, as with most games, there are some fumbles in terms of various plot points. I will not be covering these differences, as there's already a fair bit of literature online concerning these topics. I more so found that what was lost in the English version was a lot of the characterization, which is more difficult to pin down sometimes. Kefka in Japanese speaks kind of like a psychotic toddler. Locke's compulsive need to protect women comes off as more desperate and pathetic. Stuff like that. If nothing comes as a particular surprise to you, you will at least probably still find it all just to read better overall. Maybe you already know some of the names are different. Tina, Mash, Cayenne, Stragus. Plenty of the game's skills and item names are also wildly different. You can even rename Cayenne's skills, which is pretty cool. There are too many of those kinds of things to go over, and many of them are not terribly important in the grand scheme of things. However, I will give you a primer as to some of the more common terms in the game's principal script. Consider this the foundation of a cheat sheet of sorts. You can still use any number of tools and resources to extract or examine the game's text and even provide translations on the fly. But if you're looking for a more immersive experience and just want to have a quick reference for some of the most prominent terms, here it is. And, of course, if you're looking to play it and haven't already played the English version in the past, this is your one and only spoiler warning. The most prevalent term in the game is gen-ju, which means mythical beast, called espers in English. The most common category of words in the game involves those which feature the character Ma. On its own, this character means devil or demon, but the vast majority of terms in this game use it as part of a compound meaning magic, or something related to magic. When the game is talking about magic as a tangible art, that is to say magic you can cast, it will use the term mahou, with it also being rendered as such in hiragana in the game's menus, standard for games. Magicite is maseki, literally magic jewels. The War of the Magi is mataisen. It's worth noting that taisen, as you might expect, refers to like a large-scale war. You could almost call mataisen World War magic. If it's being used as part of a name or as more of an abstract concept, you'll instead see the word madou. This usually indicates that in the same spot in the English script, it's probably referring to magitech, or the magically imbued weaponry and such that the Empire uses. It doesn't mean that madou is a made-up word, though it is vaguely more esoteric. That's just the word they chose to establish the theme. It's important to note that not every instance of madou necessarily refers to what might be termed magitech. For example, the words madoushi and madoushi sometimes appear referring to the humans who wielded the power of magic during the time of the mataisen, though terms like this do sometimes refer chiefly to the soldiers, or heishi, of the Empire. Speaking of the Empire, that word is te i koku. Its leader is Gastora Kote, or Emperor Gastra. The warring triad is known as the San to Shin, or the Three Warring Gods. And when Kefka shifts the statues from their state of balance, this causes what townsfolk refer to as the Sekai ga hiki sakare ta hi, the day the world was rent asunder, and Kefka's light of judgment is the Sabaki no Hikari. Lastly, some characters have signature speech patterns and phrases. Cayenne ends sentences with gozaru, which you can consider to be an overblown, old-timey version of dearu, or just des. Stragus often ends his outbursts with zoi, which is a common, energetic, quirky old man affectation. If you found this helpful, or at least topically interesting, let me know in the comments. Suggestions for other games to be presented in this vein are also welcome. Thanks for watching. Oh, also, the synthesized vocals actually match the number of syllables in the lyrics to the opera in the Japanese game. Cool, right? They sort of do in English, but it's not perfect.